I love you.
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you're listening to Mike on the Mic and Everything Chicago Sports Related Podcast. It is March 6, 2024, Tuesday or Wednesday. I hope everybody's having an amazing Wednesday, an amazing start to your week. We got some Bears news today. We're not talking Combine. We're not talking Caleb. We're not talking Justin. We're talking free agency. Obviously, the Chicago Bears have just franchise tagged Jalen Johnson to, a $19.8 million deal for 2024. There's obviously still ongoing conversations between Jalen and Ryan Poles and the Bears organization on him getting a long-term deal done. Before we get into any of the topics today, just kind of breaking that down and understanding, the Bears are in a situation right now to where they're not going to just wait it out. You know what I mean? We're not just going to wait out the 2024 season to see if Jalen has a great year or a bad year to offer him an extension. There are going to be ongoing conversations unless Johnson says, hey, once the season starts, we're not talking ball. Like that happens. That actually happens. We've had those real conversations with other players before to where they don't want to talk money. They don't want to talk contracts. They just want to focus on ball once preseason starts, once the regular season starts. So as of right now, from what we understand, they're in a very good talking stage. They are somewhat in the middle of trying to figure out, where they're going to be as it comes to the extension. I don't know whether that's length in contract or whether that's in salary. It could be both. It could be one or the other, whatever's more important to Jalen. But from what we've seen from Jalen after a couple pick sixes, he wants to get paid. So I think that's what it really comes down to at the end of the day. 24 years old, we understand he's not going to get locked up for 7 years. You know what I mean? He wants that second shot at free agency around 28, 29, I would imagine. So you're probably looking at a 3 to 4 year deal with Jalen Johnson, probably 15 plus million a year. I don't know, something along those lines. I'm not going to get into the numbers right now of what he's potentially worth, but getting into that, having real conversations, free agency is right around the corner. Obviously, before we get into Caleb Williams and Justin Fields, we have to go through free agency. There's a lot of running backs in the world right now. There are a lot of running backs available. We're looking at Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, and Saquan Barkley is the newest running back to enter free agency after not getting tagged by the New York Giants, which is crazy considering they don't have any wide receivers, they don't have any quarterbacks, and Darren Waller is one of those guys that shows up for about 3 weeks and then gets injured. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, man. I really have no idea what direction the New York Giants are going to go into, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Scotty, I see you, baby. I hope you're doing amazing, bro. But with that being said, man, let's get right into it. Let's have a legitimate conversation. The Chicago Bears have $80 million in salary cap space. $80 million. Last year we had 100. They sold me on this idea that, hey, listen, we're going to draft Roschon Johnson. Let's see what we have in him. We still have Khalil Herbert, and, of course, we have Justin Fields. But I'm going to paint a picture right now. And if I'm wrong, please strike me down. But the reality is, here's where I'm at. If you lose Justin Fields, the Chicago Bears that once had one of the best run games in the entire NFL, one of the best running offenses, I believe they were top 2. Next to the San Francisco 49ers at 1. You look at that, take away Justin Fields, and what do you have? An unproven running back in Roschon Johnson and Khalil Herbert, who 1, can't stay healthy, and 2, is kind of 50-50 depending on the week. Early in the year, kind of starts off slow. He finishes the year off hot. That's just kind of what I've seen from him so far in his first couple years in Chicago. So, you look at that, you say, okay, look, you have an opportunity. One shot. No, I'm playing. You have one shot, one opportunity on your 8-mile track to get an elite level running back for close to nothing. Close to nothing. I mean, we're not going to get an Ezekiel Elliott Cowboys level contract here. for any of these guys. Nobody's doing that anymore. Tony Pollard had a phenomenal year. They did not pay him whatsoever. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it. If we're even Dave Kaplan on ESPN 1000 said, if you're going to give him a 1 to 2 year, $10 million a year deal, that's a win. Whether that's Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, or Saquon Barkley. Personally, myself, I'm taking Saquon. Austin had a rough year health-wise and just kind of had a down year. Josh Jacobs, there's a lot of off-the-field stuff with him, and Derrick Henry, unfortunately, is just not King Henry of old. And all those things could change, no doubt about it. You know what I mean? But if the Bears go after Saquon, I think you're in a situation to where you're setting yourself up for success. You know what I mean? And I know that's not a hot take. That's a normal statement, but it's just that obvious. You know what I mean? Your running back room now becomes Saquon Barkley, Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson. That's pretty solid. If you in this situation, because we're gonna go through a couple situations here, so I don't upset anybody. If you draft Caleb Williams and take a wide receiver at 9, whether that's Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze, you have DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Saquon Barkley, Rome Odunze, Tyler Scott, Khalil Herbert, Saquon Barkley, and then obviously Caleb Williams. That is a solid offense for Shane Waldron to work with. If, on the other hand, you keep Justin Fields, now you have a running duo and that defenses have to plan for. Justin Fields, Saquon Barkley. You still have the number 1 pick. Maybe you trade down. Let's say DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr., Cole Kmet, Khalil Herbert, Tyler Scott. I mean, no matter what way you go with it, adding Saquon Barkley makes them 10 times more dynamic. That's just really what it is. So whether it's Fields and Marvin, or whether it's Caleb and Rome or Caleb and Malik, I mean, you're in a great position if you add Saquon Barkley. Not only can he be involved in the pass game, but he's also still one of the best running backs in football. So I think there's a lot of different ways you can go with it, man. I think there's a lot of different conversations. I'm not sure what Saquon's looking for right now. Maybe, like I said about Jalen, is he looking for a lengthened contract? Is he looking for financial stability? Is he looking for guaranteed money? I don't know. We're going to have to see what Saquon wants. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting nonetheless. Couple comments we got in here already. Come on down, Barkley or Eckler. Draft offensive line, draft Odunze or Harrison. Go get another edge. Snatch up a safety, and we good. Keep Fields and add. That's what James Crosby says. Crosby also says that's facts. I'm excited to see what happens, man. I really am, because that's really the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, we sit here today and act like if we don't have Justin Fields, it's a failure. If we don't have Caleb Williams, it's a failure. Really, for myself personally, from what I've seen from both players, watching both of them for a while, I think you can't go wrong either way. Now, I obviously understand there is that chance that Caleb just doesn't pan out at the NFL level. You know, we haven't seen that yet. I don't know. I've seen Justin somewhat have success in the NFL. I've seen Justin fail in the NFL. I've seen Justin have success in college. You know what I mean? I've seen him go to a national championship. I've seen Caleb have individual success in college, but didn't have team success in college, especially in the Pac-12. You should have been feasting, should have been a Pac-12 champion damn near every year. I don't care who's on that roster. Pac-12 is awful. Doesn't even exist anymore in college football. Crazy. But you got Utah and Oregon winning fucking Pac-12 championships. Absolutely redundant. But, you know, I think whether it's Caleb and Rome or Caleb and Malik or Justin and DJ and Marvin or whoever, you're in a great spot if you're Ryan Poles, Shane Waldron, and Matt Eberflus. You have a top 5 defense, arguably. You know, you're bringing back Jalen Johnson. You're bringing back Montez Sweat. You're hopefully bringing in a new safety core. I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited about it. There's a lot of different things going on. Rob Scott said, you talking now. Rob Scott's in here of Rob's 2 cents. Shout out to him, baby. Welcome to Mars. We're getting back at it, man. I want you guys to know, if you haven't already, hit that follow button on my show, Rob's show at Rob's 2 cents, or on Welcome to Mars. We're going to be doing some amazing shit because we have been slacking, but we are going to be back and better than ever. We are in there like swimwear all 2024. I'm excited about it. Someone says, trade Justin Fields to New England Patriots. I don't know if they would even know what to do with a guy like Justin Fields, to be completely honest with you. I think you're in a state, if you're the New England Patriots. I understand it's a new it's a new era, I guess, without Bill Belichick, but they've never had a dual threat quarterback like Justin Fields. I guess they had Cam Newton, but Cam was a shell of himself. I don't even know if they would know what to do. And also on top of that, they still don't have any legitimate wide receivers. So that would not help Justin whatsoever. It would just be even more of what we've already seen. James Crosby Jr. says, to me, it's not about who's back there. Both QBs are good, and Fields is proven, but it's the other things around him, offensive line, weapons, defense. Here's my thing, James. Here's my only pushback. I want to give it to you because I would love to have a real conversation back and forth. I'm a Fields believer. I'm a Fields fan. But what I don't like is people telling me Fields is proven. You know what I mean? Like, here's my thing. Lamar Jackson is proven. Dual threat quarterback at the NFL level. I saw what he did at Louisville. Phenomenal. Dual threat in college, dual threat in the NFL. Jalen Hurts. Okay, whether it's in Alabama or whether it's at Oklahoma. Dual threat quarterback, both in college and now in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles. Justin Fields, whether you want to blame Luke Getsy or the wide receiver core of Dante Pettis, Byron Pringle, Chase Claypool, and a broken Darnell Mooney, that's fine. Velus Jones, you know what I mean? I get it. He didn't have a great supporting cast in the first couple years. But I will say this. I haven't seen Justin look like Justin since he came to the Chicago Bears. From a running perspective, he's taken over. But from that dynamic throwing of the football, I just haven't seen the arm translate to the NFL. I've seen him kind of shy away. In the NFL, you get this interesting thing. It's about 2 to 3 inches. You get about 2 to 3 inches of separation from your wide receiver, from your defensive back. In college football, you go from 2 to 3 inches to 2 to 3 feet. Because that's how good wide receivers are at Ohio State against the talent that they're going up against defensively. So that's my problem with Justin. I think Justin spends so much time trying to accumulate to that NFL speed and that separation window of him trying to force the ball in there and not trying to create turnovers. We saw a great thing from him and DJ Moore this year. 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, 8-0 touchdown interception ratio when Justin was targeting him. You know, he never one turnover when targeting DJ Moore. So you love to see that. But what happens when you target Velus Jones, Tyler Scott? Now, I will say Velus Jones is a fumble machine, and Tyler Scott couldn't catch a cold last season. But, you know, I think you have to look at it for what it is. As much as I love Fields, I haven't seen offensively from a passing perspective that translation from the college game to the NFL. And I'm excited to see that. I think it could potentially happen. You could blame the coach. Omar says he blames the coach. That's perfectly fine if you blame the coach. I have no problem with you blaming Matt Eberflus, Luke Getsy, Matt Nagy, Bill Lazor, whoever. But I'll say this. Shane Waldron has coached Jared Goff, Tom Brady, whoever he coached in Washington, Geno Smith, and Russell Wilson. If you can't have success with him this year, whether that's with DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr., et cetera, you kind of have to understand it is what it is. I'm not saying Justin Fields is a bust. I'm just saying offensively, from a throwing perspective, he could be limited. Now, I could be wrong, you know, and I'm not saying I am wrong because I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just saying from what we've seen, you have to look at it from both perspectives. You know what I mean? And Caleb, the same thing. I've seen Caleb against top 25 defenses in college football look like absolute shit. So there's give and takes with everything. Yeah, he threw 10,000 yards in college. Yeah, he threw over 93 passing touchdowns, over 27 rushing. You know what I mean? Over 900 yards rushing as well. So, I mean, yeah, you can say that, but it's also the fucking Pac-12. You know what I mean? Like, this shit doesn't even exist anymore in college football. So it is what it is. So I think at the end of the day, there's give and take. If you're Ryan Poles right now, the conversation's a lot harder. You know what I mean? Especially if there's other guys like Jaden Daniels who could potentially be something in the near future as well. To get to more comments, let's go with Angelo, doing some work with Angelo tonight, I believe. We're going to be doing some stuff later on talking Bears. It's going to be a lot of fun. He says, I think the big issue right now is the trade market isn't what the Bears were hoping for. I can't wait to talk with you tonight, my guy. Yes, sir. Can't wait to chop it up. Check out Angelo Camacho the third, baby. We're going to be doing some work tonight. You can check that out on Facebook at MyQs. I'll be pumping it out, sharing it wherever if you want want to check that out. But yeah, I think that's really the conversation. Whether that's the trade market isn't there for Justin Fields right now or not, I'm not quite sure. But I do know one thing is it seems like Ryan Poles and the Bears feel like they're waiting until free agency is over, till the guys like Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson's are off the board to see what the availability of Justin Fields is and what the market is for Justin Fields. I think a lot of teams are skeptical of giving a second round pick if they could just sign Russell Wilson for dirt cheap because the Denver Broncos are going to be paying $80+ million to him next year. You know what I mean? So Frank Marshall says, I'm a Fields fan as well, but he isn't proven. No, he was never given a chance to prove himself. He is proven to be a tough son of a bitch. That is 100% facts. I mean, I've seen Justin Fields break and crack ribs and bones and then carve up a Clemson Tigers Dabo Swinney offense and defense. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. That's like my key word I've been saying the last couple of weeks. But he goes on to win goes on to win the game and go on to the national championship. Justin Fields has that dog in him. We've seen him do it at the NFL level as well. You can tell he's banged up half the time, but he's still out there running 100+ yards a game, rushing over 1,000 yards a season. Guy's a dynamic player, and he's somebody that you want to play for. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm always going to say. There's the player in me, and then there's the coach in me. The player in me says, I want to play for you. I want to run through a brick wall for a guy like Justin Fields because he's willing to lay his life on the line and die on the field for us. That's perfectly fine. If you're willing to go to war for your guys, it's a beautiful thing. And that builds team chemistry. But I will say this. If you're a coach, it's perfectly fine if you're willing to die on the line. But can I trust you? You know what I mean? Can you win me the big one? That's the question. You know what I mean? Like, listen, we can lie on the line and die all day long. But if we're dead, it doesn't fucking mean anything. If we're 8-8 or 9-9 when the team or the NFL makes it an 18-game season, it's not good enough. You know what I mean? Before we got Justin Fields, we were a 500 football team with Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky. Not much has changed since. We won 3 games in his first year, 7 games in his second, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of conversation. There was 5 games in his first, 3 games in his second, 7 in his third, whatever. So, I think, though, you break that down and you say to yourself, can I win a championship with Justin Fields? Because we're not trying to make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, we started a rebuild for that exact reason, that we made it to the playoffs, but we couldn't win a playoff game. Not just a playoff game, but a conference championship, a division title. I mean, let's have consistency. Can Caleb Williams do that when he couldn't even win in the Pac-12? I don't know. You know what I mean? Could Justin Fields, when he falls short and lost in the national championship to Nick Saban in Alabama? I don't know. But that's Ryan Poles' job to figure out. You know what I mean? So we got a couple more comments in here. First, we're going to go with Frank. He says, but someone like Caleb will have the same issue because he holds on to the ball even longer. That actually is statistically a fact. Caleb does hold on to the ball a shit ton. James Crosby Jr. says, proven as to has been hit, hasn't had what he needs. He just not comfortable. I guarantee if he gets better protection and more weapons, he's going to light it up. It's easy to lock in one key player, DJ Moore. Nobody else makes plays. Then let Montgomery walk 100%. And then Montgomery has a phenomenal year with the Detroit Lions, wins a division title, and wins a playoff game. So that, you know what I mean? It speaks volumes to what the market is for the Chicago Bears in 2024. But, I think right now that's where you're at. You know what I mean? That's why we talked about earlier, bringing in a guy like Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean? Like, is Khalil Herbert that guy? Is Roschon Johnson that guy? Treston Ebner? Are any of these guys going to be the guy? Are you going to draft another guy? You know what I mean? How many guys are we going to have to go through until we find the guy? Like, since Matt Forte left, we're looking at Jeremy Langford. Man, who else do we have? Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen, Khalil Herbert, David Montgomery. Now you have Roschon Johnson. I mean, come on, bro. Like, you have to lock down RB1 for a couple years, especially in the city of Chicago, baby. But, it is what it is. Dustin says, my big issue with Fields is he doesn't trust his reads. If the first or second option isn't there, he doesn't trust the play. I would agree with that. I would agree with that full-heartedly. Here's my big pushback on that, though. I think the big thing for me is when he does trust guys like Velus Jr. or Tyler Scott they instantly make him regret it. Tyler Scott couldn't catch a cold last year. You know what I mean? That's just real. He was dropping touchdowns. He's dropping 80-plus yard receptions. I mean, it was just bad. It was just bad from Tyler Scott. I love him. Great out of Cincinnati. His connection with Desmond Ridder was phenomenal, but in the first year, a lot of drops. Velus Jones, turnover machine, whether it's fumbles, drops, whatever, turnover machine. So I hear you. You know what I mean? If he's not targeting DJ or Cole, it's questionable and he starts to go on the run. That makes sense, but I also understand that your options aren't great. You know what I mean? If you had a Marvin Harrison Jr., Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Saquon Barkley, and he's still not making those reads, I completely agree with you. But when you look at Byron Pringle, Dante Pettis, Velus Jones, Chase Claypool, and Tyler Scott, ugh. You know what I mean? Ugh, brother, ugh. I just don't like it. James replied to Dustin and said, true, but if there is only one read, well, only one read gets open, then what? That's really what it comes down to. That's kind of what we're talking about. DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, really the only guys who are available who you can trust. You know what I mean? Frank Marshall with a script says Waldron runs an offense that benefits your quarterback's strengths, but Getsy's ego wanted Justin to work in his offense, and his play calling is awful. There were games that Getsy ran a scheme like Justin did in OSU, and he shined. Then he goes back to his scheme. 100%. And his scheme, from what it seemed, was just respectfully just screen passes. I don't want to sound like an ignorant fan. I don't want to sound like a guy who doesn't know ball. But, I didn't see play-action designed runs for Justin Fields. I didn't see rollout shotgun plays like you've seen in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. You literally just saw slants and bubble screens and running up the middle 6 times against Green Bay in Week 18. 6 times. Don't forget it. But I just Luke was something else. I don't know what he wanted Justin to be, because I would have here's my thing, and I feel like a lot of people in the chat might agree. I would have been perfectly fine if Justin Fields aired out the ball 40+ yards 5-6 times a game and he turned the ball over 2-3 times. You know what I mean? But at least you're showing me that you can't do it. At least you're showing me whether, hey, can Justin sling this thing consistently or not? You know what I mean? That's the big question. We're going into this offseason saying Justin can't throw the ball because we haven't seen it with his wide receivers. I just haven't seen it, period. Point blank, period. We haven't seen Justin Fields been able to do it. Someone said right here, Lamar Jackson won MVP throwing to Willie Snead, John Brown, and rookie Hollywood Brown. Fields is not it. Frankie Ray says that. Pardon me if I mispronounce your last name. But that's a great comment right there. And why that's a great comment is because, like you said right here, let's read them. Willie Snead, John Brown, and Hollywood Brown in his rookie year. And Mark Andrews, of course. I think Mark was on that squad. You look at that and you see a John Harbaugh and Greg Roman at the time, who trusts him in throwing the ball. That's the problem. So you see a wide receiver core like that, who we've all been very vocal about, that prior to this year, Lamar Jackson has been in the same situation as Justin Fields. Yet he's won an MVP. Yet he's thrown over 3,000 yards. Yes, he had a single season where he won MVP in 2018, 2019, where he throws over 30 touchdowns passing and over 10+ rushing. I mean, it's just at some point the excuses are invalid. You know what I mean? I'm not asking you to throw 36 touchdowns. I'm asking you to throw the ball. And for whatever reason, Luke didn't let Justin do that. Justin also had to be a grown-ass fucking man and make plays himself. You're QB1. You're the franchise quarterback. He's making you look bad. This guy's not going to be here by the end of the year. I'm not saying cut him out on the side of the field or to the press, but I'm saying call a fucking audible. You know what I mean? Get some guys open. You're Justin fucking Fields. You went to Ohio State. That's where I'm coming from. It's been trash. You know what I mean? I agree with James. The roster has been trash for Fields thus far. But I mean, you know what I mean? Let's be real here. And Nico Collins is a dog. There's a couple guys, Dalton Schultz, who's decent. But I'm looking at CJ Stroud with a first-year head coach, brand new offense, brand new players, a lot of guys that a lot of people don't know the names of. Not only wins a playoff game, but he wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's slinging shit. He has a better season in his first year than Fields has in his first 3. So offensively, I mean, especially from a throwing perspective. So I think, at the end of the day, whether it's Justin Fields or whether it's Caleb Williams or whether it's Jaden Daniels, all I'm asking for is fucking consistency. If he can throw, let him throw. If he can run, let him run. If he can do both, let him do both. But build to their strengths. Do what they can do best. Don't run the ball 6 straight times up the middle with Roshan Johnson in Green Bay in Week 18 when the playoffs are on the line. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, what are we doing? That was it for me. That was it for me where I was like, yeah, Getsy doesn't give a fuck. I mean, I knew he didn't, but like, wow. That was crazy. And here's the thing. Frank says right here, yes, but the Ravens had an offensive scheme that used this strengths great. We run screens and route runners running into each other 100%. But at the same time, man, you gotta be better. You know what I mean? You gotta make those plays. Big time players make big time plays. Patrick Mahomes with Travis Kelce on a down year is what we're going to call it because he still had fucking 900 plus yards. I'd kill for a Travis Kelce down year on the Bears right now. But with that being said, Kadarius Toney, Rice, and I think that's all the wide receivers I could really and McCole Hartman. Those are the wide receivers Patrick Mahomes won a championship with. Like you either have it or you don't. You know what I mean? And I don't want anybody getting misconstrued. I'm a Fields believer. I'm a Justin Fields fan. But I'm a Bears fan first, baby. You got to know that. You have to know that. If you're a Bears fan, as much as you love this kid, you have to know that. As much as I love him, if we can win without him, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, have you watched, this is for Frank, this is for anybody in the chat, just like go back today or tonight when you get off work. Go sit in your room, heat up some popcorn, grab some water, grab some Gatorade water because I've been drinking that. Comes with electrolytes, doesn't taste like anything. It's beautiful. But with that being said, go watch some Jay Cutler highlights. You watch some Justin Fields highlights versus some Jay Cutler highlights. And of course, they're 2 different players. Could Jay run like Justin? No. But when you watch Jay Cutler slang that thing, oh my goodness. Justin can't. You know what I mean? I understand just like the zip on the ball, the speed in which it was coming out of his hand. I mean, absolutely dynamic quarterback in Jay Cutler. That's a QB1. Not a dual threat quarterback. That is QB1. Now, the problem is, same conversation about Caleb Williams. Did he give a fuck? You know what I mean? Did his ego get in the way? Did his mentality get in the way? Sure. But when you look at him as a quarterback, as a product, a talent, the man was a dog. A dog. So, like, you look at that, and, like, when I watch Jay Cutler throw, I go, can Justin Fields ever do that at the NFL level? Can he throw the ball in tight windows the way Jay did? Can he throw it in the speed and the strength in which Jay did? I've seen him do it at Ohio State, sure. But I haven't seen him do it in the NFL. Eli says, who are the other 30 QBs since 2000? Man, we can try. We're going to do this right now. We'll start off. All right. We'll go Rex Grossman, Kyle Orton, Jay Cutler, Josh McCown, Matt Barkley, David Foles, Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, Chase Daniels got 10, Justin Fields, Tyson Bagent. We're at 12. Oh man, that's such a long list. There's so many. Butt Fumble. What is Butt Fumble's name? I know his name for Butt Fumble. Can't think of his name. It's escaping me. We got 13. We're halfway there. Fuck it. We tried. We tried. We got 14, 15 down. Jay Cutler, if I didn't say Jay. Of course, Jay. Man, who else? Crazy. Sanchez. Yes, thank you. Mark Sanchez. Butt fumble. We got a lot of guys we could name over here. Way too many. Caleb Williams potentially. We'll see what happens. Mike Glennon. You know what I mean? So the list goes on. We got about 15. So I hope you appreciated that. But yeah, man, the rest of them, they're just kind of there. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Nathaniel Peterman. Sorry, I'm still in on this. That's 15. We got 15 for sure. But yeah, man, I think it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I'm not sure what's gonna happen with the Chicago Bears in the near future. I'm not sure who QB1 is, but I am sure of one thing: $80 million in cap space. $80 million. Number 1 pick, number 9 pick. You have to get it right. Period. Whether it's Fields, Caleb, Jaden, anybody but Drake, really. I don't care if Jake becomes the next Hall of Fame QB, the best QB in the next 10 years. I don't want him. And it's not because of the UNC thing. It's not because of the Mitchell Trubisky thing. It's simply because if you watch his highlights, 90% of the time, his wide receivers are wide open. There are no DBs covering. It's not happening. PJ Walker, thank you. Trent Boyle. There were so many guys. We're at 17. Brian Greaves. There's so many guys. Listen, no, we're not doing this. We're not naming every 30 Bears quarterbacks since 2000. We definitely could do that one day, though. We definitely could try to do that. Crazy. If you have to question whether or not a guy is your franchise quarterback, he ain't your franchise quarterback. It's that simple. Kevin Williams, thank you for that. Because that's something I've been questioning for a while. Let me ask you this, everybody in here, whether you're new here, and if you are new here, smack that follow button. Appreciate everybody who's new here. Welcome to the community. But if you have the number 1 overall pick and you're the Kansas City Chiefs, are you drafting Caleb Williams or are you keeping Patrick Mahomes? If you're the Buffalo Bills and you have the number 1 overall pick, are you keeping Josh Allen or are you drafting Caleb Williams? If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, are you drafting Caleb or keeping Hurts? Chargers, same thing. Caleb or Herbert. You know what I mean? And if you're in this situation to where you're questioning, I'll do you one better. I'm going to be honest. Number 1 overall pick, the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love or Caleb Williams. What would the Packers do? As of today, I would say that the Packers would keep Jordan Love based off of what they've seen. That's real. So if you're the Chicago Bears and you're questioning whether this is your guy or not after 3 years, as much as we love him, as dynamic and fun as he is, sometimes that's all they are for you. You know what I mean? I came to terms, this one hurts to even say, but I came to terms as a 13-year-old that the Chicago Bulls would never win a championship with Derrick Rose. And not only was that because the roster wasn't good enough some of the time, but because he wasn't available enough. He wasn't healthy enough. He wasn't able to get past Miami or Boston or teams like that in the big time. You know what I mean? And that was something I came to terms with. As much as I loved the youngest MVP in NBA history, the Windy City Assassin, Pooh, the kid from Inglewood, as much as I fucking love Derrick Rose, I understood by 2014 that we would never win a championship with him. And sometimes I think you have to come to that realization if you're with Justin Fields. Whether you believe he can or not, you have to make that bet and you need to lie. If you're Ryan Poles, you either need to say, no, I don't care if you disagree. This is my guy. Or you have to say, as talented as he is, as great as he is as a runner, he just might not be able to get us over the hump as a winning franchise. When I say winning, I don't mean 500. I don't mean 9-9. I don't mean 8-8, 8-9, whatever. 9-8, 9-7. I don't care. I'm talking winning divisions, winning conferences, and winning fucking championships. Super Bowl championships. Rex Grossman was cool. Kyle Orton was cool. We shit the bed against who? Peyton Manning. That's what it comes down to. No matter who's on defense, no matter who's your kick returner in Devin Hester, Peanut Tillman, Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs, whoever. Doesn't matter. If you don't have a franchise quarterback, that's it. So whether it's Justin, whether it's Caleb, whether it's Jaden, or Russell fucking Wilson, you need to find out if this is QB1. Period. So I don't know. I do know this. Whether it's whoever under center, you can give them all the opportunities in the world. All the opportunities in the world. You have $80 million. Bring in a Saquon Barkley. Bring in a Josh Jacobs or Austin Eckler. Or maybe not a Derrick Henry, but you get what I'm saying. Bring in a top level. Who just commented? I just saw a crazy comment. Oh, okay. That was a totally different comment than I thought it was. I thought that was somebody I knew. But with that being said, you bring in a top level running back and you say, listen, here's Rome Odunze, or here's Marvin Harrison Jr., here's DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Saquon Barkley, Shane Waldron. Then you look at the offensive line, Ryan Bates. Now you're looking at Darnell Wright, Tevin Jenkins, Nate Davis, Braxton Jones. Then you draft a couple cats here and there. Maybe you bring in a couple more guys in free agency. Sheesh! Now you're cooking. Whether it's Caleb or Justin, you're fucking cooking. That's where I'm at. That is where I'm at. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for being here. We're going to be going live later tonight, making Bears and Cubs content 24/7. So if you're new here, hit that follow button. If you already have, welcome to the community. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I'll check you guys out later. Peace.